Right, a very good morning. You're watching the Kokoliriko show on Western Television. My name is Federick. Dramadri. We'll be taking you up to the hour of 9 a.m. That will be really where you'll be able to get the news in Liberty. My name is once again Dramadri Federick. If you have not got it, please I repeat that. And also I want to say thank you very, very much for those of you who have joined us now. We are just on the way, moving to other stories and also many other issues that are happening here. But also remember, this show is a actually typically for the issues of common interests, okay, the issues that are able to really bring what is happening in the country, but also outside the country, what is happening elsewhere. That's where we'll be really getting interested and be able to push you further and be able to give you those information on what is happening here. But also, most importantly, appreciate your participation in the show. But also those who are watching us within Arua City, we welcome you so much. Karibu, and we say thank you very, very much. And that you should be able to really now be preparing to go for work and also be able to do something for your family. Make sure that do something within the remaining days. We are left with a few days pushing to the 15th, where we have a lot of events happening and also issues that are happening. I remember once we clock 15th, the rest of the days will just go by themselves, and that's where really many people feel like they cannot now keep themselves busy in these remaining hours. It's time for spending, and if you have not collected enough, don't go and steal. That's one big prominent statement that many people have ever made, but I can't leave it out. There are so many issues that are happening. Before we go to that, remember it is a cloudy weather here in Western region, but also many people feel like putting on their sweaters, jumper, and also coats at the moment. As you're coming to the city center, that is Arua City, you should be able to really put on some of those kind of clothes. But also, if you have an umbrella, please put it in the bag. In case of emergencies, you should be able to really make sure that you plan well, and also you don't really succumb or really get all those cold weather, yet you have other preventive measures. But also, those who are watching us from other neighboring areas, talk about those from Arua District, Terego, Madiokolo, Koboko, Maracha, and also those in Yumbe District. We welcome you, but also those in Madisha region, not forgetting Obongi, Moyo, and Adjuman. And in Aleru sub-region, we have Pakwach, Nebi, and Zombo districts. We appreciate your participation. This is the show that really impacts knowledge and also really shapes what is happening in foreign affairs. We'll be discussing them here live with you. And also those who are watching us from other parts of this country, not forgetting those from Acholi and Langosa regions, the eastern part of this country, and also western, and plus a central, where we have the capital city, Kampala. And those who are watching us from the diaspora, I mean outside Uganda, we welcome you to this show. My name is Federick Dramadri, and I will be taking you up to the hour of 10 minutes to 9 a.m. And also, we have a series of issues that we'll be discussing here. Before we go to those, remember yesterday a lot of issues happened within the city, and also those that happened within the country, things that we want to really go to. Remember, the issues of the Balalo evictions is still moving on, and about 15,000 heads of cattle we are actually impounded from different places or different districts, from Amur up to really Gulu. That's where really a number of them were really picked, and these are from the defiant Balalo herdsmen. We'll be going to that story and also be able to really discuss something around there. But also moving forward, remember the police is currently on a regional tour, countrywide tour that is tailored towards amending the police dictionary. I mean the doctrine that they always refer to, which is a principal guideline that leads or makes sure that police operations are linked to one statement that they can always refer to. They have a lot of documents, standing order, what, and so on. Many of them, many guidelines have been issued on policing and also really doing investigations, even arrests, so many things. So they are doing consultations to amend some of these things, these instructions, and also make sure that they have one supreme doctrine that they will be able to refer to. And currently they are here in Arua City for Western Region doing a lot of consultations. Yesterday was day one with the police officers, doing consultations with the police officers. Today they will be having other stakeholders, including the religious leaders, the political leaders, and also other opinion leaders. This is actually for Western Region. But the tour began in Kampala metropolitan area, but also it spread to other parts of this country. Currently they are in Western Region, and according to the team leader, that is Namtebi, who is the police actually political commissioner, that is the acting political commissioner who is there for Uganda Police Force. She says actually that this is actually one way they are going to really improve on policing and looking at the current trend of crimes that have been committed that have not been there in the constitution, but also in other guidelines that have been issued for them to do operations. And this will be able to help them in investigations, help them into diving into the modern crimes and also many other issues that are actually happening. Remember, there are a number of crimes that have not been there in the guidelines that police has been using. Talk about the internet crimes, I mean the cyber crimes, and also so many of them that you may mention. Talk about hacking and also stealing, or maybe doing other things that are of interest to the justice, law, and order sector, but also where police needed to do investigations. Most of the police officers have remained with the ideology of being traditional. They have not really been able to take up ICT as one of the serious opportunities that they can do to really avert crimes. And this is where really police is coming to. But also talking about human trafficking and many other trafficking kind of things, and also illicit financial flows that are tactically done by these crime abettors. Okay, so this is where really police wants to really gather people's opinion on how they should be able to really move with this kind of investigations, how they should be able to conduct themselves. Even when they are meeting community members, how do they do community policing so that people are able to understand when they are maybe sensitizing people about available laws or new laws that have come, how should they be able to approach the communities, and also how should they relate with the community, but also how will the public be able to help police in doing some of these investigations. And that's very important, and that's why really some of these consultations are very, very important. So for you who is outside there, whether you're invited or not, you should be able to really pay attention and go and attend this. This will be today. For other stakeholders, it will be at the Police Regional Workshop Center that is in Arua City. It's a very large hall, and people should be able to really come there and be able to give the opinion on how really police should be able to work. We have seen police the Uganda Police, which started as the Uganda Army Constabulary, which was established in 1899, and later on by the constitution of this country, that is 1995, Article 212, which now gave its new name, which was rebuffed to be the Uganda Police Force, really came from a stride where there was a lot of instability in the country. Talk about the tribal things and also the foreign invasion of the country. Now you realize that they have really tried through the keep law and order slogan to really move further and also make sure that people are able to change the narrative of always thinking about rioting, thinking about protests, thinking about violence and so on, to where people are able to sit down and harmonize certain things. And this has actually improved Uganda's system of administration in terms of responding to crimes, in terms of community policing and many other things. And that is the beauty now we see. But they want to go actual extra mile to ensure that this is really tapped. Can this be a very good move, and also can people be able to benefit from this? And this is one question that everyone should be able to answer for himself. In case the amendments are done, how will this be able to help the country? It's one thing that we should be able to really be talking about. But the most important thing is your participation in the consultations makes a very big deal in terms of counting on people's opinion, on community participation, but also making sure that it is really up to date, to make sure that whatever is captured should be really taken seriously. We have seen a lot of consultations done, but at the end, the views of the community or public is not captured. Okay, much as they may be pretending to be capture them, you will see this not really being put into the rightful use or consideration. We have seen this so many times when politicians come to do consultations. What comes on the floor of parliament is different. I hope the one for police will not be like that one there. And remember, a number of issues are also still happening. Remember the game that was played over the weekend really between Paida Black Angels and also Nebi Central was a win for Paida Black Angels. But what came after the game was really that nasty accident. If you can remember, that nasty accident which claimed one of the lives of the fans, okay, of Paida Black Angels when they were actually going back to Zombo district. And this is one thing that we have ever been talking about. Remember, yesterday police actually released a report indicating that the death toll has risen to 63 in just 6 days. This is from reckless driving, talking about the issues of people not following procedures, overspeeding, and a lot of issues that are put there. Talk about the contributors of these accidents. The biggest is the motorcycles. What can we do about these kind of things? We continue to actually make statements about whether people are really driving when they are not drunk. We have seen a lot of observant, keen interest put on people who are using vehicles. But what about those who are using motorcycles? Much as police will be making efforts to impound motorcycles and so on, but we have seen this not yielding much fruit, despite reports indicating that there is an increase on the number of people who are putting on helmets while on border. But how about these ones who are still hesitant? What other means or solutions can we derive to ensure that really everyone is captured and also really nothing is seen to be of worry in terms of the road use and also the implementation of the various traffic rules? So let's take a break from here. We'll be coming back with a lot to discuss with you. Remember, we have so many stories that will be unpacking here, and also we'll be really glad for you in case if you are able to actually share with us your thoughts about what we're discussing here, but also most importantly keeping it to the dot. Let's take a break here.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Tap your family the bigger feast this Christmas with StarTimes upgrade to Kongere promotion. Nova customers on satellite decoder simply pay 20,000 shillings special bouquet monthly subscription to enjoy smart bouquet for free. Enjoy variety of entertainment including Hello Mr. Right on Makula Chika, Kazanya Kukazanyo on Makula, animations and cartoons on Boeing, series on TLC and Star Life. So make this the unforgettable holiday. More content, help your family.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Okay, welcome back from that commercial break. How earlier on I was bringing to your attention the issues of accidents on the rise in the country between the dates of 3rd of December up to the date, or that is 9th of December. The country recorded 63 deaths in just a space of 6 days, and that's one big tragedy or concern that we have in this country. We need to really take care of ourselves, looking at what is actually happening. If you look at the statistics breakdown, the biggest contributors to these accidents, the motorcyclists, okay, the people who ride these borders and so on, are the biggest people who actually succumbed to these accidents. And you realize that the issues of overspeeding and maybe taking over maybe other vehicles using wrong sides, and also while at sub corners is one big thing that is actually shaping discussions in the country. But also this is one thing we should be able to really talk about. There are people who follow vehicles closely. They don't want to really actually give space. And now in an incident where somebody brakes abruptly, that's where you see some people already knocking themselves behind the cars, and also accidents coming in. If you can get reminded of the accident that was caused by the Uganda Revenue Authority enforcement team around Awendere there, you'll be able to understand that it was something of not leaving space, but also braking abruptly. That's one thing that actually made that accident happen. But also, if you look at many other causes of accident that we have seen in this country, many people don't want to put on helmets, many people don't want to service their motorcycles and vehicles, many people drive when they are drunk, and these are things that most times really claim lives on this in this country. And also, talking about the condition of the roads, and it's quite perturbing that you see somebody negotiating from his lane to other people's lane, and people are using now the right hand instead of the left hand to drive on these Ugandan roads. If you look at the road from I would say from Kampala up to Arua or Koboko, these are streets. You will see that a lot of potholes are there. People have to negotiate them, people have to dodge them around, and also in the due course of dodging or maybe negotiating these potholes, you realize that somebody maybe gets into head-on on collision with another person who is actually on his lane, and this is one thing we should be able to really take seriously. But also on the accident issues, the issues of enforcement, I don't know if it has been genuinely done. Once you maybe impound motorcycles like that, do you issue these people the rightful instructions? Maybe order them to buy these items that are lacking, especially the helmets. But even people who have not really been able to maintain their machines, especially those whose brakes are not there, those who do not have side mirrors and so on, do they buy them instantly? This is one thing we should be able to really look at, because we have seen many people being arrested and also their motorcycles impounded, even vehicles taken, but at the end you see these vehicles released with the same problems on the roads, and they continue to cause accidents. And that's one big thing that we should be able to really look at if we want to seriously fight the big vice, that is the accidents that are being claimed, that are actually claiming lives in the country. But also if you look at the scenario of this fan who actually lost their life after the match, this is an incident where people were so much agitated because of the win. They were so happy, and that they actually lost control over machines. Most of them were over speeding, shouting, you know, the morale that comes with winning a game. And it comes back to how we use the roads that we have, and also what kind of in what kind of mood is the person driving. You see, that kind of thing. We should be able to be observant on the number of people who are maybe taking or who are using the motorcycles. If you look at that video which was actually said during the Nilecast, and if you watched that news, you'll be able to see that so many people were on these motorcycles, like one motorcycle taking 6 people, 7 people, and so on. Others are standing, others are seated, and that kind of morale can make somebody lose control over machines. And that's one thing we should be able to look at, especially how do we transport our fans, how do we transport our players to the venues of playing games. Okay, where we are going to play, we should be able to really have some bylaws or maybe some regulations put in place. The regional league, the organizers should be able to take this into consideration. Who are these people, or who are these supporters? Can we identify our supporters? Can we be able to see that every team complies with the instructions that have been put? For instance, carrying really players on rucksacks and also others putting them on lorries and so on is a risky business in this modern era, and the regional league organizers should be able to take this seriously, because really you can't allow people really be taken on rucksacks, the tricycles, and I mean many others also on borders. Hey, some players just come on foot and so on. How safe are these players? How safe are these fans that are moving to support our teams? The team managers should be able to really also take control over this. But also, if you come in a broader perspective, the roads, the road use or misuse is too common here in Uganda. We should be able to really look at the traffic laws that we have, look at really the guiding principles, and also whether these traffic officers are really doing the rightful thing. We have seen many of them really standing by the roadside. But even when the passengers are complaining that they are being really over squeezed or really piled so much in the vehicle, you realize that the driver concentrates from the rear part of the car than really looking at where the people are seated. And these drivers and the traffic officers tend to talk outside, and they don't come to check on these vehicles physically. And that's one thing we should be able to really look at. Sometimes it may prompt some of us as journalists to go and do stories of that nature, to really look at whether these people are doing the rightful things on these roads. We have seen many police officers staging at any part of this country, also standing by the roadside. when the traffic officers are not there, and you ask yourself, who is commanding these officers to mount maybe some of these barricades, okay, to mount these roadblocks? You see that? And what on whose behalf are they doing this? And this is one thing we should be able to really look at. We've seen the field force police so much engaged into this. Especially if you are going via the Manibe Yumbe Road, that is via Terego district, you realize that if you reach around Abizade, you will find some of these officers always, every morning, Monday to Sunday, they are there staging their roadblocks there. And you realize that what they do is not even really what traffic police will be able to do. They come there, they stop vehicles, and then they pick monies from these people, they move away, and then they tell the drivers to go. Now, reaching midday, they disappear. And what is the essence of that kind of roadblock that you may be established at such a point? What is it meant for? Those are things really the commanders should be able to take interest in. When you deploy officers, what is it that they are doing there? There should be some people really put on ground to say, no, this is not how we are supposed to do it. This is not what we are supposed to come to do. And really, it should be a very serious thing that Uganda Police Force should be able to take seriously if they want to really do the rightful thing, and not to continue painting the bad image of the Uganda Police Force on these roads, because we are aware that it is the Directorate of Traffic that is actually in charge of looking at the traffic laws and also what happens on the road. Unless it is something of conflict, a different one, apart from the traffic laws, that Uganda Police Force should be able to intervene in. But otherwise, without the orders from the commanders of traffic police, I don't think the ordinary police should be able to take that as the priority, other than really preventing other crimes that are happening across the country. And that's one big thing we should be able to take seriously in terms of rescuing lives, in terms of also ensuring that the rules are really abided by everyone who is using the roads, especially in Uganda. But also injecting a lot of money in improving the road status is one thing that remains in the hands of the parliamentarians. Okay, they are the ones who prioritize and also make sure that our roads are prioritized in the budgets of this country. So we should be able to really look at that seriously. But also, let's move away from that story. The issues of using maybe the prisoners to do casual labor is one thing that has come to an end through this festival season. And we have seen a communication from Frank Baine, who is the commissioner Uganda Prisons, dated yesterday. That is one big thing there, that he was able to communicate that the class 1 stunting will start on the 15th. Okay, that is one big thing. And in this, the prisoners and the prison officers will not be allowed to move elsewhere, but also visitors will not be allowed to go and see the people in the prisons from the period of the 15th of this month up to the 12th of January 2024. So this is another issue that is happening there, but also this will help is communicated with the aim of ensuring that the constant prison breaks that we always witness during festive seasons is not going to be there, but also to ensure that the number of staff in the prison cells or really prison quarters is increased, and also ensuring that all of them are alert, and in case of eventualities, emergencies, they should be able to respond in large numbers. But also in that guideline, there are a number of issues also. Issues to do with communication, where another letter that is dated yesterday still communicates that the use of social media by prison officers is to be restricted. This is in violation of the standing orders. If you look at the letter, it clearly indicates that some of the officers have been really misusing the uniforms and also the available tools that they have using the internet platforms like TikTok, like Facebook, to take videos and circulate them when they are not supposed to reach. And according to Frank Baine, this will be able to deter the officers from misusing social media, but also sharing intelligence information on social media. And that's one big thing that he has stressed in the letter. But also he has ordered for an audit of some of these social media platforms that are being used by these officers, and then there will be surveillance throughout to see who is doing what. And this is one big thing there that has been said. And if you look at that, the use of social media by everyone, actually those in organizations, it's actually regulated. It's regulated in a way that if you are publishing any information about any organization that you work for, you should have maybe verified it with the managements, or they talk about the people, the executive directors and so on, who are supposed to save the information that you are supposed to publish, unless you are maybe, or if you are not the public relations officer, you're not actually supposed to share information regarding any organization that you work for. And this is one thing that cuts across. So we should be able to see that things work out, okay? Things work out, and also people respond to this. But also this should not be able to violate the freedom of expression and speech that people have. And once you have regulations like of that nature, it should not be able to deter people from exercising their human rights. And also what they do should not be able to also defame the organization. That's one big thing there. And also people, I think, need to be empowered, especially the prisoners. I mean the prison officers. They need to be empowered on how to actually use the available tools. We have seen videos circulating of prison warders taking prisoners to cells, and which is not really something good. But also we have seen videos of prison warders dancing well in uniform and so on. That is another thing which is not really putting the good image of the Uganda prisons force, and that is where really those statements are coming from. So we should be able to really take a keen interest on how we really relate to the social media platforms that we have. If me as a Dramadri uses my Facebook maybe to write bad stories, I mean the stories of maybe where we are not supposed to be, especially in the barracks. You take pictures of the barracks and you put them there. This is really not good. It is against the security of the country, okay? It's actually exposing the country to other enemies that will come, will want to maybe locate where the barracks of these countries are, and also how they are being structured. And that way you'll be leaking really a lot of information to the rebels outside their home, might be interested in fighting the country or overthrowing the government, which is so bad. So that is one thing. We should be able to regulate whatever, or really understand what you are publishing, the impact of it, but also looking at the available laws where we have now the ICT Misuse Act, which we have, and also really what can be done around this. The implementation, before we take it all, we should be able to really empower knowledge on the citizens, or into the citizens, to understand what it needs. It means for them to really use social media in the rightful purposes, okay, in the rightful ways that are of importance, that create a lot of impact in shaping development, other than really taking everything for luxury. And you feel like, okay, because of the feelings you have, you feel like you should be able to really share every information, or you should be the first person to put the information that you feel you can be able to share. And that's one thing there we should be able to really look at very keenly and be able to really look at it. Still on 15th, the Forum for Democratic Change will be having a really big mega delegates conference, but also the executives will be able to iron out the grievances and also be able to talk about the issues to do with the violations or the factions or the people who are deterring and also trying to have more split of the party. And this is communicated by the Nazana Kumpi faction or the Nazana Kumpi main, where FDC started from. But also the Katonga faction is still on with the elections. I remember yesterday a lot of issues were coming out from that, and the deputy president of the Forum for Democratic Change, that is the Eastern region, actually communicated that there is going to be really administrative procedures followed in regards to the people who continue to really take the party as a joking matter. It was speaking this in regards to the elections that have been conducted by the Katonga faction, where they continue to also mobilize for grassroots support. And they are actually looking at the 10 former president of Forum for Democratic Change, that is Dr. Kiza Beshij, who is really there really with the Katonga faction, and they said that is actually cheating on the main party, and also it's like a dildaling kind of thing, and which needed to be scrutinized. So on 15th, we will be watching at that space what is actually happening the other side. But the biggest story that is also coming up is the security ahead of the festive season. Remember, yesterday the police, Uganda police, communicated that the rebels have, the ADF rebels have started disguising themselves as mad people in this country. This follows an arrest of one of the purported madman who has been using an expensive smartphone to take photos of big hotels and also bank halls and also many other big institutions that we have in this country, including police stations in Jinja City. And this person was arrested following really his actions of trying to take pictures in the main city when he was putting on the attires that are seen to be torn clothes, and also he was running after people as if he was mad, but this was proved to be a normal person by the psychiatric doctors. And this really arrest gave a leeway for police to understand that this person was actually moving with a gun having ammunitions, and also had parking tickets for street parking tickets. 8 of them are belonging to a vehicle which was brand new with a very brand new number plate on the street. And this is one concern that is happening now. And if the rebels are coming in different forms like this, how should people really be able to celebrate this festive season? And that means we should be able to look at every unique face that we have in our vicinities, including the mad people. So really very keenly if we want to really move further. But also without taking keen interest, we will not really go further, because you may think that the person who is chasing you is a mad person, and yet this is a rebel who will really want to claim your life. And that means we should be able to really do away with the mad people on the streets. Currently, this is one big fear that has come, and police has communicated that people should be vigilant and also really be able to really look at the people who are in their urban centers and also in the communities who are coming, especially during this kind of festive season. But also public gatherings should be really restricted through use of detectives, okay? The gadgets, the machines that are able to detect metals that are able to detect any other kind of thing that might be of security threat, even including guns and also bombs and also other ammunitions that people might be able to really enter, people might be tending to enter for maybe to watch football, to watch other movies or news in public places, or to even go to a drinking joint, even to attend discos that gather a lot of people, even in burials, funerals and so on. We should be able to deploy those kind of things if you want to really keep safe during this festival season. So it's up to us, the leadership of different institutions, different organizations, different local governments, different markets, so that we are able to really avoid these kind of things. And it's up to us to do that. If we cannot do that, the police may not know, so we should be able to give them feedback instantly, and using the toll-free lines that they communicated. Remember the 999 that was communicated here by the police public relations officer for Western region. You should not forget that. And also the 112, which was there, and also it continues to be there, but also 912, and which is also there. We should be able to really look at those numbers to communicate instantly. But also very important one is also, if you have a nearby police station, you can run there and make statements on what is actually happening in your area. And by doing that, you are helping so many people, saving a lot of lives, saving a lot of people from those kind of things. And police has continued to caution many people, now the members of public, from that kind of threats that will be coming to their vicinities. And we should be able to really understand that it's no longer a physical fight, or it's no longer the usual rebels that we could see coming in uniform, but now the things have changed. In the modern era, many people are using different tactics, so people should be vigilant on what is actually happening near them. And we are taking a break from here. When we come back, we'll be able to move to other issues of concern that we have in this country right away. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Sub your family the bigger feast this Christmas with Star Times upgrade to Kongere promotion. Novel customers on antenna decoder simply pay 16,000 shillings copper bouquet monthly subscription to enjoy basic bouquet for free. Enjoy variety of entertainment including Hello Mr. Right on Makula Chika, Kazanya Kukazanyo on Makula, animations and cartoons on Boeing, series on TLC and Star Life. Even better, we have added all your favorite local channels. So make this the unforgettable holiday. More content, happier family.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Exactly a minute past the hour of 8 a.m. we are on West Nile Television studios, and I hope outside there you are doing well, and in terms of really a lot of things that you should be doing to finalize the year. And we are still here on the Kokoliriko show. My name is Federick Dramadri, taking you up to the hour of 9 a.m. That will be bringing you in the news in Lubarati by Feta Emmanuel or even Mukila Lawrence. One of them will be able to come. They always come in surprise. So I hope you'll be able to enjoy that news there. And also moving forward with many of other stories. Remember, the issue of safety is in your hands, okay? Your vigilance is in your hands. There are many people who go home very, very late, and sometimes just because you have taken leisure as your priority, and sometimes people are restricted by the work they do, that makes them to go home late. But there are some people just because they really want to enjoy life, they tend to go home very, very late, from the hour of midnight and also beyond, which is quite risky. And I want to assure you that it's not easy really to make sure that at night you are safeguarded, even if you have all that muscle. When maybe you are attacked by these armed robbers, by these maybe tags and so on, it becomes very difficult for people to rescue you. And remember, at night many people do not even open up their doors to come and help any person who is out all late outside there, because he or she has been caught up by any other eventuality. This is one thing we should be able to really look at seriously. Your safety is in your hands, so it's you to plan your time very, very well. If you are visiting someone by around 10, you should be at your home, okay? 10 p.m. you should be at your home. But also, really, if you are a parent, that is too beyond for you, because you need to really interact with your children. You need to have a good time with family, and also tell them how you've been at workplace, and also hear from them. Interacting with children is a very good thing. Making sure that children also contribute to decision making in your family. Let them also say their version. Though they might not make decisions, what they contribute to makes you to actually adjust on the management you have in your home. If you cannot listen to the children, you will not even listen to your staff, the workers you have at workplace, because you will feel like everything you know it. Which is quite difficult. It makes management difficult. It makes really administration in your homes very, very difficult. As a mother, as a father, both of you should be at the disposal of the children, and the children should be able to interact with you freely, forgetting that in the past, where when the father is coming with a lot of ululation and so on, when children hear that, they run and cover themselves with blankets and say, hey, he's arriving. You see that children used to fear the parents, but now the technology has opened the platform for children to interact freely with the parents. So we should be able to grant them that opportunity to hear from us what we have for them, especially during this festive season. We have seen so many people moving away from really leaving their homes, especially women moving away, husbands abandoning the women with the children, women abandoning husbands with children, and so on. These things are happening. So this is happening because you don't have meetings in your home. If you have meetings with your children, with your wife, and so on, it becomes easier for you to understand the needs and demands of your family. Generally, what the husband expects of the wife, what the wife expects of the husband, what the children expect of the parents, what the parents expect of the children is also another thing we should be able to really look at very importantly, especially when we are looking at those kind of scenarios. It becomes easier for you to administer whatever you want to do, and you will be able to understand that your children are behaving in this way because they are lacking A, B, C, D, or your children are not really doing much at home, so you need to adjust from this side, and that makes work easier. But it doesn't only help the children, it doesn't only help the family, but it helps you as an individual in terms of security, because when you move home early, and you'll be able to really avoid some of those cases that will happen, or eventualities that will come to you at night. Okay, you'll be able to really reach home very early. Let's move away from that story. The story now rocking at the country is the issue of Balalo, or the herdsman vixen in northern Uganda. Remember, this has been really a very great struggle for the government, and also who has been in loggerheads with the herdsmen, especially in northern Uganda, from western region up to the Lango sub-region. And this has been from the time of maybe from the period May up to December this year, and a lot of guidelines have been coming in relation to the vixen of the Balalo herdsmen. How should they go? What is it that they should be able to really look at if we want to make sure that these people report or respond to the presidential directives? Remember, a number of presidential directives were issued through the executive order number 3, and also this encompassed the issues to do with charcoal trade, or dealing in forest products for commercial purposes. This was tailored towards improving or maintaining the climate of Uganda, but also, most importantly, is the issues of greening. Okay, making sure that Uganda remains green when we have a number of the natural trees that are there to be for years. But also coming back was the concern of the distractions caused by the Balalo herdsmen who have left their country or the districts of origin and decided to come and settle in northern Uganda. I remember there were a number of districts, around 36 of them, that have been highlighted hosting these Balalo herdsmen in different parts of northern Uganda, and these have been the issues that came as a result of the complaints from the farmers, from the people of concern, that most of these Balalo herdsmen steal their animals. They also marry their wives, they also marry their children, and so on. And the cases of theft, the cases of destruction of crops, the cases of missing animals were on increase. And this really was one of the factors attributed to the low production of crops and also farm products in northern Uganda. And this really resulted into a lot of meetings with the persons of concern, that is the herdsmen, and also an agreement was reached to ensure that these people are taken away or evicted within a period of 3 days. This really elapsed on Friday last week, and we show a number of actions taken. Remember, the State Minister for Northern Uganda, that is Grace Freedom Kwichin, communicated that there will be auctioning the animals of the defiant herdsmen, especially the Balalu, who do not comply. And one of the conditions that were put is, if you have bought land in northern Uganda and have established yourself as a farmer in northern Uganda, you should be able to fence off that land. And in the due course of fencing off the land, that will be giving you permission to live in northern Uganda with your animals. And this was one big thing that became headache. And you realize that most of these people do not have land. They were actually moving with these animals on people's land anyhow. Others will rent, others do not rent, but they just move to look for greener pastures. And yesterday the police actually confirmed that there were 15,000 over 15,000 animals that were actually impounded and put in the holding ground awaiting auctioning. This is following the guidelines, and these are from the defiant herdsmen who refused to comply with the eviction directives from the president. And this is one thing that is happening. So what is it that we should be able to learn from this kind of scenarios? 15,000 from different districts, okay? From Amuru district to Juman district, coming to Gulu, going to many other districts like Apart, like Noya, like many others that are there. And this is one thing that is already happening now. And if you look at this kind of scenario, you will realize that there was a lot of time given to this herdsmen who are supposed to move to their places of origin because of the complaints that have been launched severally by the people from northern Uganda. And this is where really a lot of issues were coming from. So what can be the learning point from this? We have seen a lot of presidential directives turn into be proposals. This is because many people feel like this is just by the way thing. People tend to bargain or discuss or even buy the people who have made directives. They tend to go back and say, no, can you do it this way? Because we have this other business that we're still executing. They tend to bargain for the directives, which are the presidential directives are actual decrees. They are laws, ideal. So there's no one above that law which has been passed. So we should be able to really look at those kind of scenarios. We should be able to learn from these kind of things. Because really, if the more time we buy, the more wound will be created in the hearts of people who feel they are being cheated in this kind of businesses. So that is one thing we should be able to see. But we're here to see whether these animals will be auctioned as directed by the state minister, or these animals will be maybe transported to elsewhere, or you may never know. I don't know if this will be the Christmas food for the institutions under government, and this is one thing we'll be able to see later on. But the confirmed case here is the animals are being kept in the holding grounds, awaiting for further decisions, and that is what is already happening in northern Uganda, that is here in this country. And moving forward, there are so many other issues that we will be able to really dive into. Remember the fire incident that happened at DP premises, where a number of people lost their property to the fire that gutted the big city mall, which is downtown. And if you look at that fire which happened yesterday, you realize that this is not the first time we are seeing during festive seasons or during December's and around June. A lot of fire is seen in Kampala, and the causes are seen not to be every time not really surely been communicated. We have seen police coming out saying that we are investigating, but really serious reports have not been coming out. You remember the fire that gutted Makerere University stores and so on, where really a lot of documents burned that was there, and also the fire that also gutted a lot of malls in Kampala throughout last year. And this were really issues that have been really, they are really shaping a lot of fears when it comes to December and June kind of shoppings that people do. And this is really coming at a wrong time, where we are able to see one life lost. Is another thing that we should be able to really move away from. If we want to really have a developed country, we should be able to see that every building has fire extinguishers, maybe has other equipments that are able to really respond to emergencies. But because we tend to take some things as jokes, that's where really some of this fire could not escalate like that. But because these equipments were not there, these gadgets were not available, we show a lot of challenges in putting off the fire. Remember, police had to come and rescue that situation there at the big city mall there that you saw yesterday. And this is yet coming back. We have seen fire also destroying a lot of property here in Arua City. Remember the tropical suit fire saga that happened in 2021, where the hotel just caught fire from up there, and this was attributed to a short circuit that happened there. And remember, there was nothing like firefighting equipment that was installed at the hotel, and not until the police fire brigade had to respond to that case in Arua City here. And many other buildings have been really burnt into ashes just because people have not been able to install some of this kind of equipments. And remember, it is a requirement for you to have a business premise. You should be able to have those kind of things, and even institutions that are having businesses running throughout, like also the radio stations, the televisions, the many other things. Even if you have your home that is established, you should be, and you are aware that anytime you leave home late and also you come late like that, you should be able to install some of those kind of things. It should not be a forceful thing, but we should be able to install them. But installation is not enough. But how about the issues to do with the expiry of these things? The gas can expire, but do we refill it? Do we do many times maintenance on this kind of equipments? You might have the gadget, but when it is not even working. So those are things we should be able to consider when we are looking at safety and taking other precautions in terms of big facilities, and also that attract so many people transacting businesses at such a place. And that is very, very important. In case there's an outbreak of fire, you may never know the cause of the fire, but also you may not know when it is coming. Okay, those are things that we should be able to prepare. Those are disasters that we should be able to prepare ourselves for, to meet before when these kind of things come by our ways. And many other things that we should be able to take care of include the safety of the people. What kind of business do they do, and also who is doing what at what time? Are there installations of CCTV such premises where we can retrieve footage of what is happening? There are accidents that can happen, and that could relate to fire, that could relate to other things. Maybe a nail can even prick somebody's foot. So what mitigating factors do you put there to ensure that people are rescued from those kind of eventualities that may come, that are unpredicted, and also in case also even collapse of buildings we have seen? So what is it that you have been able to create as an emergency channel for exit? We have seen some buildings that do not have adequate aeration, and also they don't have exit routes, emergency exit routes. Okay, everyone has to follow one channel to really reach somewhere, or maybe to move out. This becomes really difficult. For instance, maybe a building starts collapsing. People could easily use the exit routes to really jump to save their lives. But because you have decided to say we are using one route for exit, that really puts people's life at risk, and it makes really life-saving very, very difficult. And as a matter of precaution, a matter of good move for our development, we should be able to have those kind of gadgets. But even in terms of lightning, the lightning arresters can be installed on buildings that are really large. Okay, schools, like even shopping malls, centers, arcades, and even radio stations, televisions that use signal. And you realize that in most of these large buildings, people use those equipments that use signals. Talk about computers, talk about television sets, radios, phones, and so on. These are things that we should be able to put at our buildings to really prevent some of those eventualities. So it is very important. We should be able to take a keen interest in some of those kind of things. If we want to go further, if we want to save lives, if we want to really make sure that people are able to transact businesses without losing lives. When you have lost those kind of things, it is hard for you to recover from them. Okay, it is hard for you to recover, but also most importantly is when you send the message to police. Okay, the police are standby, but the issues to do with how they can arrange, organize to go for to stop such a fire is one big other thing. We should be able to really tell them this kind of information very early, so that they are able to prepare to really rescue lives. And moving away from that story, I remember there are a number of issues happening across the world. I remember the soldiers that are under the East African community have been withdrawn. I remember there were troops that were deployed at in DRC in March this year, 2022, actually 2023, that were deployed, and this were there to fight the ADF wars, okay, the rebel wars that have been really devastating peace in the country. The peace in the country has been deteriorating. But you remember there was a communication by the president of the country, that is Felix Tshisekedi, who actually communicated that by 2024 he doesn't want to see the UN peacekeepers in his country, because really he has seen no value for them to be there, as he claims that they are not doing enough in rescuing or reinstating peace in the country, but instead they are inciting a lot of violence in the country. And also there are allegations of looting the resources of DRC that are coming up from the president, saying that countries like Rwanda have been so much in putting a lot of pressure on the indigenous army of DRC, and also have been the people behind the genocide, and also the people behind the conflict that actually they are funding the rebels in DRC. And that those were allegations put by the Democratic Republic of Congo government, accusing the nation, that is Rwanda, of fueling violence in the country, that is Democratic Republic of Congo. But if you look at the withdrawal of the troops that were in regions of 580 something a number, these officers were deployed there to especially in the eastern part of Democratic Republic of Congo, to ensure that there is peace at all levels. Remember the videos that the Uganda police force was able to bring to relay about their operations, but also how far they have been able to achieve their motive of ensuring that there is total peace brought back in DRC, but also looking at the other ways of ensuring there is calm. Okay, that is one thing. And this withdrawal is coming following the signing of the agreement between the South African Development Corporation, that is SADC, which has been the main region that DRC went to sign troops from. And the deployment was done on the 8th of this month, and currently the troops from that region, the SADC region, are already in DRC, already for their mission of evicting or dealing away with the rebels in Democratic Republic of Congo. So this is one thing. Where does this leave Democratic Republic of Congo is what we really now need to know. Remember, from the time the rebel activities started, remember the famous the LRA army or LRA rebels that were in the Central African Republic, that is led by Joseph Kony, that was flushed out by the Ugandan army, that is the UPDF, from that period of 2000, between 2000 up to 2005, where this flushing was evidently seen, was one big achievement there. And I remember Uganda has Uganda and other East African countries like Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda, including Burundi, that have been able to contribute officers to help in evicting the rebels, have been really able to achieve a lot in terms of the enforcement. And you saw the retaliation coming to Uganda, where the ADF rebels were able to use other avenues to come and destabilize the country in different ways. That's like you saw that the UPDF is actually on the hunt of some of the rebels that have been identified, whose portrait have been displayed several times in terms of what they have been able to do. And this is coming at a time where Democratic Republic of Congo is heading to elections. Okay, the elections for presidential and other provincial elections are expected to be on the 20th of December 2023. So what is it that DRC will either lose or gain from this kind of withdrawal of troops? Let's take a break from here. We'll be coming back to really continue with that discussion later on. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Sub your family the bigger feast this Christmas with StarTime's upgrade to Kongere promotion. Nova customers on satellite decoder simply pay 20,000 shillings special bouquet monthly subscription to enjoy smart bouquet for free. Enjoy variety of entertainment including Hello Mr. Right on Makula Chika, Kazanya Kukazanyo on Makula, animations and cartoons on Boeing, series on TLC and Star Life. So make this the unforgettable holiday. More content, happier family.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Let's come back from that commercial break, and we're discussing a lot of issues. Remember, you are still watching the Kokoliriko show that comes every Monday to Friday on West Nile Television. My name is Federick Dramadri. We're discussing pertinent issues of public interest, okay? The issues of development, issues of what is happening where. This is where really you will be able to really get a glimpse of that, and also really able to understand what is happening at this country, in this region, and also across the world, what is really happening. That's very, very important that you be able to really understand what is happening, and also be able to comment or share with us your thoughts about what we are discussing here. This is the power of media, and to be able to really see what is happening live here on Western television. And also, most importantly, we are left with a few days to close the year. You might be regretting when you have not done anything, but it should not be a matter of taking off your life, because if you have not been able to achieve any plan that you had set, don't take off your life. You still have a chance, because God has a reason for you to live. It should not be you to force yourself really go off at the track, but other eventualities come. They say death is an emergency that you cannot forego. So we will wait for the emergencies that will come, and not really something that is planned for, okay? That is very, very important. Let's make sure that if we have failed to utilize or achieve anything from our plans, let's apologize to ourselves and say we are sorry, and we will do better next time. So when we are saying we will do better next time, it should be a standing block for us to start really marching. Let's not really be keeping stationary. Let's keep moving. Let's keep moving, and get interested into understanding what others are doing, how they are able to achieve their own plans, and also be able to see to it that we are able to progress with life here and thereafter this moment. And we're still continuing with the discussion whether the withdrawal of troops from DRC by the East African community is a very good thing, or whether it will have a great impact, positive or negative, on the lives of on Democratic Republic of Congo's governance. Okay, remember the troops have been really so much in numbers, and this under the UN peacekeeping. But now you have seen DRC saying no, we don't want these troops again in our country, and the reasons are clear, that they have not been able to do what they were assigned to do. They're supposed to finish the rebels in a few days or weeks or months, and this agreement was supposed to last for 6 months, and it was a bit extended, and did not really yield so much fruit. This is according to the government in her statements on Twitter. And also, if you look at what is currently happening, is the organization of the Southern African Development Corporation is currently on ground, or community is currently on ground, looking at the issues of evicting the rebels, and also restraining them from really confiscating power from government. And this is the rebel grouping, that is the M23 rebels, and also the ADF the rebels that are there in the country. I remember the Democratic Republic of Congo is one of the richest countries in Africa in terms of mineral possession. Okay, the country actually declared in 2020 that it had actually raw minerals that are not yet tapped. Okay, the untapped raw minerals that are estimated to be worth 12.8 trillion US dollars. Okay, that is there in the country, and this puts DRC third on the globe, okay, in terms of mineral possession. So this in Africa is the first the leading country in terms of mineral possession. That means the fight in DRC is tailored towards the issues of the conflict of minerals. Who is to take the benefits from the minerals that they have? The untapped minerals, you know, aluminium, iron core, and also many others, including gold, including diamond, and many other untapped raw materials, raw minerals that are there in the country. And you have seen a lot of mountains, forests, and so on, lakes that are really having these mineral deposits. So the conflict is in the regions of the minerals. So the country says actually the East African Community Cooperation, all countries have not really done enough in terms of focusing on the conflict than really stealing or smuggling goods or raw minerals from the country. And this is what is currently trending. And you realize that the SADC army is already on ground. They commenced work on the 8th of this month. And currently they are 1 week old plus in the country, or they are closing 1 week approximately. And looking at what is happening now, DRC with their campaigns and which are going on, there is a lot of worries about the peace or the violence escalation, and also the issues to do with how the country should be able to conduct elections amidst all these uproars that are coming, and from the internal conflicts, the tribal issues, sentiments, and so on that are really there in the country. Remember the issues of provinces not really teaming up or working in line with the government directives, the issues of maladministration that has been centered there, where all the powers are centered at the headquarters, that is Kinshasa. And remember, a lot of things are happening, yet the country is not really doing enough in terms of moving forward with what they have in their vicinities. And the country's army is said to be trained by Israelites, and this is expected to be averting some of these crimes. And remember, it's a big issue whether these troops that have been brought will be able to achieve within the stipulated time, that is 3 months, is what we'll be able to see later on, because they are still they are still clocking 1 week in the country, and this is where we'll be able to see that. But what does this mean to the East African community, where Democratic Republic of Congo is said to be part of the community? And I'm saying is said because they have not been able, they have not finalized all the processes that qualifies Democratic Republic of Congo to be part of the East African community. Though temporarily they have been able to afford some of the permits, and widely they have not been able to get all the requirements fulfilled. So what does this mean to the inclusion of DRC in the East African community? Does it mean because of the conflict or the interest they have about how the East African community affairs should be run, and also really how the member states should be able to help each other with now the internal conflicts that they have come up to boldly accuse Rwanda of fueling the conflict? How will they be able to sit together on the board of East African community to ensure that both all the countries that are said to be 8 are able to sit together and ionize some of these kind of issues that are internal? Because now taking it to SADC, that means the East African community, the regional bloc, has not really been able to help their young baby, that is Democratic Republic of Congo, to come out from that kind of conflict. So what does this mean? Uganda has been one of the countries trying to preach Pan-Africanism, other than now focusing on the East African affairs, because they feel like the East African community is already together, and they are moving on well. And that's why they have been able to start construction of roads to DRC to cement the relationship, and also say, my neighbor, I can really help you with my matchbox, because you also need to eat food. You see that? How do you light your fire when you don't have a matchbox? So let me help you with this. And that's how Uganda has been able to extend that hostility and generosity in terms of building a rapport, and also ensuring that Democratic Republic of Congo feels comfortable. But also we have seen in many forums, you remember the Yala meeting that was held in Arusha, where the common members of states under the bloc, that is the East African Community, we are debating a lot of issues, but the members representing Democratic Republic of Congo insisted that the conflict between them and the neighbors, that is Rwanda, should be ironed out by the East African Community member states, really, because they cannot now sit together to talk or really discuss some certain things when the with them together, just like that. And this is one thing we should be able to bridge if we want to be in such a community together, and also have the opinions shared, or the outcomes on how they should be able to run the community are not supposed to be really shared with other people outside there, other than really keeping it within themselves. Otherwise, the secrets of the East African community will be leaked if you have conflicts. Okay, that is one thing. You can even look at this at your family level. When you have conflict with your wife and there's no peace at home, you see the woman is discussing all that you had problems with the neighbors. Okay, they will be able to whisper all the secrets about you, that this is how you conduct your business at home. When you come, you are always rude. This is what you do, and so on. That really makes you to lose the dignity that you always have, the reputation you have already built, the name you have built in terms of maybe the developments you have. They'll be rubbish within just 2 or 3 days, which is quite unfortunate. And that's really one big thing there that we should be able to really look at if we want to strengthen the cooperation, that is East African Community, and attract more members, because the larger numbers of members you have, the better you will be able to argue at international level, or at a continental level, at global level. And this is what you should be able to see if the East African Community is supposed to grow greater or to a greater height. And away from that story, remember the Academy of Training the military of Kenya had an extensive visit in Uganda, and Uganda is expected to host the regional academy for the East African countries to train the army from different parts of the region, that is the East African Community. And this is one big story there that is happening currently, and this is worth appreciating. Remember, Uganda has been exporting a lot of expertise in terms of security, that is in the names of UPDF, that has been exported to curb violence in Somalia, Sudan, and many other countries, including Ethiopia, Eritrea, and many others, including even South Sudan, which has been really there, and also adding DRC on top of this, and many other countries that we have seen in this continent that have been able to borrow security forces and the tactics that has been used by Uganda People's Defense Forces in terms of improving other governments. And this benchmark was really heavily appreciated by General Elwelu, who is there for the UPDF, and he actually explained that he is glad that many countries are appreciating the role played by Uganda's security in terms of Pan-Africanism, in the spirit of building peace and also achieving development in the common Africa. And the united Africa that we are yearning to see will be only seen when we have a common ground to argue on our cases. Okay, that is one thing that is coming there, and Uganda will be able to host this by 2024, which will be here in the military training center, and this is one achievement that we honor, and we will be able to really appreciate the security or the general command forces led by His Excellency, that is Yoweri Museveni Kaguta, who is the commander-in-chief, and this is under his leadership. So it's worth appreciating that many countries are now appreciating the role played by the country's defense forces, okay, that is led by that president. And it's quite interesting to see that countries like Kenya, that have a lot of fighting equipments in terms of armory, okay. When you look at you compare Kenya with Uganda in terms of armory, they have actually more equipments than Uganda, but the tactics, the human resources deployed to use the few resources that Uganda has puts Uganda at a higher edge than the country Kenya, and this is what Kenya is actually looking at, and they want to know what kind of tactics Uganda uses to really make sure that Uganda remains peaceful. Remember, Uganda has survived in peace for quite a long period of time, for quite a longer period of time. Since I was born, I have not seen really wars breaking in Uganda, apart from the cultural kind of conflict which was during, you remember the saga of the Rwenzururu Kingdom War with UPDF, where there was an alleged takeover of government from the king's palace, where the king built a security team that was there having guns and so on, which was feared to be really going to make an unrest in the country. That was the only scene I saw which was attempted to be war, but it was not something that was affecting the entire country, and that's one thing that we really appreciate the government of in terms of keeping peace and security in this country. And that's where really we'll be coming to the conclusion of this show for the Tuesday edition of the Kokoliriko show that comes every Monday to Friday. And up next we'll be having the news in Lugbarati now with Fete Emmanuel and not Mukla Lawrence, as I communicated earlier. And remember, Fete will be really bringing those detailed analysis in the local language, that is Lugbarati, that is the news named as the Ayolas of West Nile Television. That will be there, but behind the camera is Dijon Pro, who is there really technically using the camera to show to you how I look like. And also really what we're able to project on the screens is from the other side of production, that is by Aldo, who is the producer for this show. We appreciate your time, and those who have been watching us from the start, we appreciate you so much, and keeping it low. Up next we'll be having those programs, and after the news we'll be having the Northern Request, and many other programs will be following suit. I will be concluding it with the Nilecast in the evening. That will be brought to you by Christine Okomuringa at 7 a.m. actually p.m. That will be there. So thank you very much. I'm out of the studios.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.